All right, let's just jump right in today. We are skipping the usual preamble because we have an absolutely fantastic explainer lined up for you. We're going to unpack a classic Bengali moral story. It's this incredibly fascinating look into human nature, community justice, and, well, a highly coveted pot of fried meat. We've got a torrential rainy day, a really stubborn little girl, and a crime that sends an entire village into a silent uproar. It's a great story, so let's just get right into the psychology and the brilliant mechanics of this tale. Okay, let's dive into this. It all starts with an inciting incident that I think we can all relate to, which is the sheer, completely irrational stubbornness of a child. Listen to this demand from Neha, the young daughter of our protagonist, Ratan. Despite a terrifying, howling rainstorm outside, Neha demands fried meat, period. And Ratan? Well, he actually braves the absolute worst of the weather, fighting through the wind with a totally useless umbrella, purely out of loving devotion to get her this specific meal. It really sets the emotional anchor for the whole thing, just showing the crazy lengths a parent will go to for their kid. But of course, a good story needs a contrast, right? While Ratan is happily providing for his family, look at what's brewing right next door. Meet Lultu and Bolanov. These two neighbors are literally simmering in bitter jealousy. As the amazing smell of Ratan's fried meat wafts over to their house, their own wives start nagging them, pointing out how Ratan manages to provide so well while they seemingly do nothing. The psychology of their envy here is absolutely fascinating. It's not really about the meat at all, is it? It's about their own insecurities and inadequacies being exposed by Ratan's success. It basically sets the perfect stage for a crime of opportunity. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the pacing of this theft is actually kind of hilarious. So, Ratan brings the meat home in the afternoon. By evening, the smell has completely driven the neighbors crazy. Now, originally, Laltu and Bolanoth planned to steal the pot in the dead of night. But their greed and their immense, genuine fear that little Neha would eat the whole pot before midnight forces them to strike early in the evening. It's such a great insight into human behavior. Anxiety over missing out often leads to really poor, highly impulsive decision-making, right? They risked getting caught while everyone was still wide awake, just out of pure greed. And wouldn't you know it? The pot vanishes. Ratan's wife goes to the kitchen to serve the food, and she is so shell-shocked that her mind is just desperately searching for any logical explanation. She even wonders if maybe a stray dog somehow made off with a heavy cooking pot without leaving a mess anywhere. But Ratan, he doesn't panic at all. He stays incredibly calm and grounded. He immediately promises his crying daughter that he will absolutely buy her new meat, but he also vows to uncover exactly who took their dinner. He just trusts that the truth is going to come to light. To solve this mystery, the story introduces a truly brilliant character. Meet Barima. Now, she isn't an official police officer or anything like that. She is the wise village elder, and her primary method of investigation, it's amazing. She wanders the village, listens to everyone, and uses local gossip and deep social intuition to piece together the truth. It's a really great reminder that before modern forensics came along, social capital, keen observation, and just understanding how a community breathes were the primary and often most effective tools for maintaining order. She knows exactly how these villagers tick. Now, Rayton goes to Barima because he definitely suspects Laltu and Bolanath. I mean, they're relatively poor, but suddenly their house smelled strongly of rich fried meat. But here is the central dilemma of this whole explainer. How do you actually catch a thief without any direct proof? You can't exactly just march into someone's house and accuse them without hard evidence. Doing that would just cause a massive, unresolvable fight. So Barima has to resort to some highly unconventional, yet incredibly effective techniques to force the truth out. And this brilliantly illustrates Barima's genius. Just look at the tactical progression of her master plan. Step 1, she identifies the deeply envious neighbors. Step 2, she quietly seeds a rumor throughout the village about the theft. Step 3, she leverages the collective morality of the village to turn all the customers away from the thieves' shops. And Step 4, she just sits back and waits for the pressure to break them. That last step is absolutely crucial. Silence and anticipation are often way more effective interrogation tools than direct questioning. It is pure, unfiltered psychological warfare. The impact of this social boycott is just total devastation. Practically overnight, Laltu and Bolanoth face utter financial ruin. Literally nobody is buying anything from their shops. And worse yet, because it's a silent boycott, the thieves are trapped in this state of deep confusion and panic. They don't know exactly why they are being shunned, though deep down, their guilt is eating at them. And to top the whole thing off, their wives are angrier than ever because the household income has completely and suddenly dried up. Now, the story gives us another really brilliant juxtaposition. While the thieves are literally weeping in the empty market, totally despairing over what they lack, what is Rotten doing? He's actually out visiting his sick cousin Amit. Even amidst all the chaos of the stolen food and this intense ongoing investigation, Rotten practices a sort of everyday stoicism. While the thieves are completely obsessed with what they don't have, which leads to their ruin, Rotten focuses purely on what he can control and who he can care for. It really highlights the powerful moral core of the story. When Rattan marvels at how completely Laltu and Bolanov have been ruined without a single punch being thrown, Burima drops this incredible piece of wisdom. She says, "I didn't do anything. The villagers did it all." By weaponizing the community's shared morality, she effectively let the village act as an immune system against bad actors. It's a profound realization, honestly. A decentralized justice system driven by a community bound by a shared sense of right and wrong is often infinitely more powerful than any direct, unproven accusation. But hey, Burmima isn't all serious business. She has a fantastic sense of humor, too. Before she gives Rattan the final piece of the puzzle, she playfully demands a bribe. She tells Rattan he absolutely has to invite her over to eat some of that famous fried meat. After they share a good laugh over it, she drops the bombshell breakthrough. She physically located the stolen pot. The thieves had hidden it down at the river ghat, the steps leading down to the water, so they could secretly wash it and hide the evidence. Unbelievable. So, the psychological trap has snapped shut. The social pressure has completely ruined them, and now the physical evidence has been securely found. Which brings us right to the climax. What happens when the guilty, who have been fiercely denying everything to save face, are finally backed into a corner with undeniable proof? The tension here is just fantastic, as all their desperate attempts to hide their greed are about to violently collide with reality. The confrontation is immensely satisfying. Rattan, his daughter Neha, and Burima march right up to the neighbors. At first, Laltu and Bolanov angrily deny everything, demanding to see proof of these outrageous claims. And then, the trap snaps shut. Burima simply presents the physical cooking pot. The visual shock is immediate. All their lies shatter in a split second. Confronted with the undeniable truth, the thieves immediately break down, confess to the whole thing, and begin desperately begging for the community's mercy. So, the crucial point is, how does a community actually resolve a crime like this? How do we move from the action of the story into the resolution and its deeper meaning? Well, the answer centers around this very specific, culturally significant number, 7. Let's look at exactly how this number comes into play to restore balance and harmony back to the village ecosystem, because it's super clever. Burima acts as the judge here and hands down a beautifully elegant 3-step punishment. It serves as a perfect example of restorative justice. You see, unlike punitive justice, which might just involve, say, throwing someone in a jail cell, this system actively forces the offenders to repair the fabric of the community they damaged. First, financial restitution. They have to pay double the value of the meat. Second, spiritual humility, taking 7 purifying dips in the river. And third, a promise of reform, publicly swearing never to steal again. It expertly reintegrates them into the village while ensuring they truly make amends. Which leaves us with this final, thought-provoking question to chew on. What is the true cost of letting envy dictate your actions? Think about it. For the sake of a single meal they were jealous of, 2 men faced financial ruin, public humiliation, and the sudden loss of their entire community's trust. It's a masterful reminder of the destructive nature of jealousy and a really brilliant look at how localized, community-driven justice can actually restore peace. I want you to think about how social pressure and community standards operate in your own life today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the stories around you.